Hi everyone! I'm so excited to be here again to talk to you all about some of the services that I offer. So yesterday we talked about trademarks and what the trademark process entails, and today I wanted to talk to you all about LLCs and what the LLC process entails when you have my firm file the LLC on your behalf. So to start, what does an LLC stand for? So an LLC stands for a limited liability company. A limited liability company is pretty much the simplest form of a registered business entity. This is not the same as when people are saying, oh, I have my DBA. DBA stands for doing business as. It's literally just a document that you file with the government to say, hi, I'm conducting business under this name. It does not grant you any sort of registered business status, nor does it provide liability protection to the owners. I like to think of a DBA as like putting on a name tag that says, hey, my name is, right? So just for that time period, whenever you're conducting business, you'll just use that name. That's all a DBA is. It's just a name tag. An LLC, a limited liability company, is an actual form of a registered business entity. This means that we have to actually file documents with the state, right? They have to approve those documents to state that you're going to be allowed to conduct business under this name. And then from there, we also get what's called an EIN, which is short for Employer Identification Number, so that your business has its own social security number in a sense. So this is a big step when you do have a business or when you're looking to start up a business and you're getting serious about it. The reasons that I say it's a big step are, one, it's definitely going to make your business appear to be more professional when you're conducting business with any other companies or vendors. Two, when you're entering into contracts, it's going to be able to provide your business a sense of liability protection and yourself personally. So what that means is that Marina Banks, right? I have a limited liability company. Let's call it Banks LLC. When I conduct business, I'm going to use Banks LLC. If anything is to happen where someone gets hurt or injured and a lawsuit could arise and they try to say, oh, well, we're going to sue Marina Banks personally and we're going to sue Banks LLC. Well, if I was operating under my LLC, then I personally can't be sued. The LLC, which stands for Limited Liability Company, provides limited liability protection to the owners of the LLC, provided that certain rules are followed or certain steps are upheld. So that's really one of the main benefits of having an LLC. Other benefits of having the LLC would be being able to take advantage of tax benefits that can come along when you're an LLC. There are different tax options. And then also when you start to maybe apply for government contracts, they'll require you to be a registered business entity. The other thing is that if there's any sort of pandemic or epidemic again where the government decides to release funds to businesses, some of the requirements for the funding that they release requires you to be a registered business entity, such as an LLC or a corporation. So when we think about an LLC, I don't want you to just think about it, oh, that's something that people file. Everybody wants to have an LLC. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. There are certain rules that come with having an LLC, and there are benefits that come with having an LLC. So what exactly happens if you want my firm to file your LLC? Well, we start out by having you complete what's called an LLC questionnaire. The LLC questionnaire will ask you to let us know, number one, who's going to be your business's agent of service. When you have an LLC or a corporation, you have to name an agent of service. This person is going to be in charge of receiving all important business documents on behalf of your business. If your business is to ever get sued, right, then the service of process will actually go to this person. So a question that people love to ask is, should I be considering hiring a third-party company to serve as my agent of service, or should I serve as my own agent of service? And I think this is a great question to ask and something to think about before we even sit down to file. Number one, the address listed for the agent of service is public record. So some people are a little bit apprehensive about having their home address listed for the agent of service information because it's public record. If I just search the name of your LLC, that address will pop up. So there's a couple solutions we can take to try to hide your personal address. Number one is that you can look into getting a virtual address. When looking to get a virtual address, I strongly suggest that you get a virtual address that is connected to a co-working space. That means this is connected to an actual business building as opposed to just being connected to like a UPS store or some other sort of print and ship store. When you Google search virtual addresses, one of the first things that's going to come up is something called iPostal. iPostal addresses are connected to print shops. So if I'm applying for a business line of credit and they want to make sure that the address I've given is connected to a reliable building, it's literally going to come up when they put the address in, like mom and pop print shop, and that's not going to look good. So when we're thinking about using a virtual address, if that's something you want to consider, I suggest getting a virtual address that's connected to a co-working space. Typically, you'll pay like a monthly rate for this. They're usually pretty reasonable. They usually have different add-on options where they can provide you a business phone number as well, or business receptionist services in addition to that. So it could be beneficial for other parts of your business. The other option is to hire a third-party company that's called an agent or service company. You'll pay them anywhere from $50 to $100 per year, or sometimes more, but the average rate is about $50 to $100 for the whole year. And they'll receive all the documents for you and give you their address for you to list on that document. That way you don't have to worry about your name or your address going on that document. Now, for some people who are going to be moving around a lot, you may not be in a steady place. Maybe you're kind of apartment hopping from year to year or every other year. The agent of service or the virtual address could be a great thing for you so that you don't have to worry about filing amendment documents to change the address every time your address changes. So that's the first thing we need from you, your agent of service and the address that goes with it. Once again, the agent of service is in charge of receiving all important documents for your business. The second thing that we need from you is going to be who is going to own this company. Are you going to own it personally? Do you have another LLC or corporation that's already registered that you want to own this one? Are you going to have business partners? If you have business partners, what is that percentage split going to be? One thing that I've had to change for clients who didn't fully disclose this to me up front is that if you've been reading a lot about, oh, I want to build a legacy, I want to leave my child an LLC, and I'm going to have my child own the LLC. A child can be a co-owner of an LLC, but they cannot be the sole owner of an LLC. And some states even have rules against children or minors, those are people under the age of 18, being co-owners of an LLC. So you need to start with your state law. Does your state allow for minors to be co-owners of LLCs? And then the second thing is they cannot own it by themselves. The reason being is that an LLC is going to have to open its own bank account, which you have to be 18 years or older to do without a parent or guardian signature. And they're going to be signing contracts. A contract is not going to be valid if you're having a minor sign it. So we need someone over 18 to be a co-owner of that LLC. If you want to have your child as a co-owner, we can absolutely do that. They just cannot be the sole owner. And if you want to talk about percentage splits, everything doesn't have to be 50-50, an equal amount. You can absolutely do something uneven where you have a majority owner that has 70% ownership and a minority owner that has 30% ownership. That's completely possible. So that's the second thing we need from you is who's going to own this business and what are the addresses listed. Once again, the addresses of the owners, when it's listed on your LLC filing, is public record. So if you want to use your virtual address for that, you can as well. If you want to try to shield your personal address. The third thing that we need from you is your organizer information. The organizer's only job is to state all of the information given on this document is true and accurate to the best of our knowledge. The person or company listed as the agent of service has agreed to be the agent of service and the address is valid. And when we're filing these business documents, we're not leaving off any sort of owner that was supposed to be on here. Maybe you came up with the idea with a business partner and then you didn't put their name on the documents because you decided you want to do it yourself. So they want to try to avoid that. And so they have the organizer attest that you're not doing any of those things and that the person who is listed as the agent of service or company has agreed to serve in that capacity. From there, we file what's called your articles of formation with the Secretary of State's office of your choice. And then with the fee that you're paying us, we also take care of the filing fee. So you don't pay for that. That's included in the fee that you pay us. We take care of it. Once the LLC is approved by the state, we go to the IRS and we apply for what's called your employer identification number, also called an EIN. This is your business's social security number. You'll use it to open up your business bank account and apply for business lines of credit. We take care of this for you. That is included in the rate that you're paying. And then the last thing that we do for your LLC is we form what's called an operating agreement. The operating agreement is pretty much the management structure document for your business. It's going to state who owns the business and in what percentage, what liability protection is offered to the business by its, to the owners, by the business. And then it'll also state any state laws that are pertinent to having an LLC. If you have more than one owner, and there's going to be maybe a minority owner and a majority owner, we'll state what the authorities are for each person. We definitely have some clients who want to have like the majority power. So they want to have a business partner, but they don't want that person to be able to overpower their vote. We can amend that based on what's going on in your situation and what's called your operating agreement. Some states require you to have it. Not all states do, but we prepare it for you anyways. Banks are known for asking for this when you go to open the business bank account because they want to make sure that whoever is there to open it actually has the authority to do so. So the three things that we do for you are we file your articles of formation, and that's where we list who your agent of service is, your owners, and your organizer. The second thing is we apply for your EIN with the IRS. Once again, the EIN is your business's social security number. And then the third thing is going to be preparing your operating agreement, which is the management structure for your business. Another thing that we do is before we even file any documents, we do state searches and federal searches to make sure that the name is available. Because some people are like, oh, well, I'm not filing my trademark right now, but it's something that I may want to do in the future. We want to make sure that you're not having to backtrack. And by that, I mean, people have filed LLCs only to find out that the name they're using for their LLC is actually trademarked by a different company in a different state. When you file an LLC, that document is only filed with your state. They're only going to check and make sure that no one else in your state is using that same business name. They don't check any other state records or they don't check federal trademark records. So before we file our LLCs, we check the federal records to make sure that no one has trademarked that name. And then we go ahead and check the state records and make sure that there's no businesses in your state with that name. So it's a two-part process because we want to make sure that you guys are all super protected. If you all have any questions about LLCs, I am super happy to answer anything that you all have. But that's pretty much the breakdown of what it's like to work with our firm with getting your LLC filed. Our turnaround time is 7 to 10 business days, provided that the state doesn't prolong anything or that the IRS doesn't prolong anything. Every now and again, the IRS will require us to either mail or fax in the application for the EIN, and that can be lengthy, anywhere from 21 to maybe 70 days sometimes if they're super busy like they were during COVID. Typically we get the EIN within minutes of applying online, but every now and again they'll require us to mail or fax it in, and that can extend the process. But our typical timeline is 7 to 10 business days. Now our pricing has increased from last year, but that's because our quality of service has also increased. We have better systems in place to make sure that we're getting you adequate help and get your needs addressed as quickly and expeditiously as possible. So our pricing has increased to $650 for LLC filings, but that includes your state registration fee. That includes us getting your LLC, EIN, and operating agreement, and then that's the average of 7 to 10 business day turnaround time. So that's where we are right now as far as pricing and timeline. We do have a breakdown using the link in our bio for our 2022 service guide and price sheet. That gives you the prices for everything as well as the great bundle deals that we put together for y'all to have. And then we also have new payment plan structures, and those payment plan options. We have 3 different ones you can choose from, are listed in the price sheet and service guide. And when you click the link in our bio, you'll be able to get it. If you're ready to purchase, after watching this video, you say, okay, you know what, I'm ready to go. I know what I need to do. All you have to do is hit the link in our bio and select the option for purchase LLC or trademark services. If you're in need of a payment plan, you'll need to email us personally, and then we'll be able to set you up in our system with the payment plan option. Now, some people ask, okay, is there any sort of portal or website where these documents will be stored, right? Where I can kind of get it at any time? Absolutely. We actually use a client portal system. So when you fill out that LLC questionnaire and the EIN questionnaire, it'll be in your client portal system. You'll also sign a contract with us that will fully disclose the services that we're providing for you and that you're agreeing to pay for. And then you also have access to your invoice and a breakdown of your payment plan if you're getting one within that client portal. Your documents, once they're fully completed for you, your certificate of formation, EIN, and operating agreement will be stored in your client portal as well. And then you can also e-sign everything through there. And so that's pretty much what it's like to work with us. If you all have any questions about LLCs, I'll be happy to answer them here so that everyone can learn. And if you have any question about our processing and what that looks like, I'd be happy to answer that as well. Let me scroll up. Let's see. Yes, you're welcome. Someone said, thank you for doing this. Someone said, satisfied client here. I would take notes, folks. She's a gem. Thank you. I appreciate that. I know I talk fast, so I hope you were able to take some notes if you needed to. Awesome. Well, I'll go ahead and post this to my feed. If you all have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks so much. Keep those businesses protected and have a great day.